His new piece, we should say, appears in the August 20th issue of the magazine. It is titled Virgin Galactic's Rocketman, the ace pilot risking his life to fulfill Richard Branson's billion-dollar quest to make commercial space travel a reality. When do you think we're all going to space, Nicholas?
All of us, or the first
When do you think
the first passenger flights? I think Virgin Galactic is they're looking at trying to complete their flight test program, at which point, these highly qualified former military test pilots prove the concept with Spaceship Two. I think that they're looking to do that sometime roughly the next year or so. And then after that would be Richard Branson and his children will get on the flight. They'll be the first passengers. And I think passenger flights for the 600 and something people who have already purchased or reserved a ticket for Virgin Galactic flights would start soon after that.
And given all the work you've done on this topic, when would the Schmidle family be jumping on one of these?
Well, it depends. I mean, the Schmidle, I would jump on one. I would have jumped on the flight that I watched on April from the runway had I had the opportunity. And if Richard, there are seats in the back right now that are currently flying unoccupied. My confidence, sort of watching these test pilots and watching how they respond to pressures and whatnot, I would sit in the back of one now. As for sort of when I would put my wife and children on the back, we may want to give it a little bit more time.
And in terms of this race between Branson, Musk, and Bezos, who do you think's winning? I think even a fair way to look at it?
Well, they're all sort of aspiring for different things. I mean, I think that SpaceX is the industry leader right now. They're the juggernaut. They're already proving that they can fire massive rockets on a repeated scale. I mean, they have had some accidents, et cetera. But the competition for Virgin Galactic is really with them and Blue Origin, both of whom are aspiring for suborbital tourism flights, which is going to about 62 miles above sea level. I mean, you got to sort of as a matter of perspective, 62 miles above sea level, qualify. I mean, that's where Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic are trying to go. The International Space Station is 250 miles above sea level, and then Mars is 330 million miles. So, there are sort of matters of scale here as well in terms of what these companies are trying to do.
Nicholas, I read your piece. It was quite long and quite detailed and actually quite riveting. And I think one of the things when we talk about the business of space and sort of this new emerging space race and all of these private companies coming into the fold that sort of gets missed is what it takes in terms of these former military men and women and test pilots who are actually getting into these vehicles to run the tests, and the fact that it is in very many situations a life and death experience for them, which also really kind of speaks to the fact that it's a very different thing from putting a professional into one of these capsules versus a tourist. Right.
Well, that's what I think, and that's why Virgin Galactic is only their 7 pilots are all former military test pilots, and their concept, like you said, is let's make sure that these skilled individuals who have already had 30 years of risky military test piloting careers, that they can do this with confidence before we start putting passengers in the back. And that's kind of, I think, the challenge for Virgin Galactic and for Blue Origin as well, is getting to that point when you're confident that you can do this safely and that repeatability is something that's manageable. And I think it's not only the test pilots who are doing this. I mean, the crazy thing is that in Mojave, California, in the middle of nowhere, there is this hub of innovation and risk and sort of excitement with all of these engineers that are trying to do something that's never been done, coupled with this older generation of test pilots. It's a pretty wild scene.
All right. Hey, Nicholas, thank you. Congratulations on the piece.
Thanks for having me on.